Hey, good morning. It's Mr. Duncan, the Bonham Public Library, and I've been asked to read the original Hank the Cowdog to you. And we're on Chapter 2, Quills, Just Part of the Job. Well, put my reading glasses on and let's get started. It was kind of a short fight. Coming down, I'd seen the quills aimed up at me and tried to change course. Too late. I don't move good in midair. I lit right in the middle of him and bam, he slapped me across the nose and tail. Sure did hurt too. Brought tears to my eyes. I hollered for Drover to launch the second wave, but he had disappeared. Porcupine had taken another shot at me, but I dodged, tore up half an acre of brush, and got the heck out of there. As I limped back up to the house on pincushion feet, my thoughts went back to the murder scene and the evidence I had committed to memory. It was clear now the porcupine had nothing at all to do at all with the murder because porcupines don't eat anything but trees. Drover had found the first set of tracks and he'd come up to and started hollering about coyotes. I'd been duped into believing the runt. Yes, it was all clear. I had no leads, no clues, and no idea who had killed the hen. What I did have was a faceful of porcupine quills as well as several of my paws. I limped up to the yard gate. As you might expect, Drover was nowhere to be seen. I sat down inside the gate and waited for Loper to come out and remove the quills. A lot of dogs would have set up a howl and a moan. Not me. I figured that when a dog got to be head of ranch security, he ought to be able to stand some pain. It was just went with the territory. So I waited, and Loper didn't come out. Them quills were beginning to hurt. The end of my nose throbbed. Felt like a balloon. Made me awful restless, but I couldn't whine or howl. Pete the barn cat came out just then. His tail straight up in the air, and he was rubbing along the fence coming my way. He had his usual dumb cat expression, and I could hear him purring. He came closer. I glared at him. Scram, cat. He stopped, arched his back, and rubbed up against the fence. What's that in your face? Nothing you need to know about. He rubbed and purred. Then he reached up and sharpened his claws on the post. You sure look funny with all those things sticking out of your face. You're going to look funny if you don't run along mind your own business. I'm not in the mood to take any of your trash right now. He grinned and kept coming, starting to rub up against my leg. I decided to ignore him, look the other way and pretend he wasn't there. Sometimes it's the best way to handle a cat. Let him know that you won't allow him to get stirred up. You have to be firm with cats. Give him the slightest encouragement and they'll move in and take over. Pete rubbed and purred. I ignored him, told him to myself he wasn't there. Then he brought that tail up and flicked it across the end of my nose. I curled my lip and growled. He looked up at me and did it again. It tickled my nose. It made my eyes water. I had to sneeze. I tried to fight it back, but couldn't hold it in. I gave a big sneeze, and the quill sent fire shooting up through my nose. It kind of inflamed me. Don't you see? And all at once, I lost my temper. I made a snap at him, and he was gone, over the fence and into Sally Mae's yard, which was sort of off limits to us dogs, even though Pete came and go as he pleases, which ain't fair. With the fence between us, Pete knew he was safe. He throwed a hump in his back and hissed. And what was I supposed to do then? Sing him a lullaby? Talk about the weather? No, sir. I barked and loud and just to let the cat know that you couldn't get me stirred up. The door opened and Loper stepped out on the porch. He's wearing jeans and an undershirt, no hat and no boots, and he had a cup of coffee in his hand. Hank, leave the cat alone. I stopped and stared at him. Leave the cat alone? Pete grinned and walked off, purring and switching to tip his tail back and forth. I could have killed him. I whined and wagged my tail and went over to the gate where Loper could see my nose. He looked up to the sky, took a drink of his coffee, swatted a mosquito arm, looked up at the clouds again. I whined louder and jumped on the gate so he couldn't miss what he was seeing that old Hank. His loyal friend, protector of the ranch, had been wounded in the line of duty. "Don't jump on the gate," he yawned, and went back into the house. 20 minutes later, he came out again, dressed for the day's work. I had waited patiently. My nose was really pounding by this time, but I didn't complain. When he came out to the gate, I jumped up to greet him. You know what he said? "Hank, you stink. Have you been in the sewer again?" And he walked down to the corral. He didn't see the quills in my nose. At last he saw them. When we were down in the corral, he shook his head and muttered, "Hank, when are you going to learn about porcupines? How many times do I have to go through this? Drover never gets quills in his nose." Well, Drover's is a little chicken, and Loper just doesn't understand. Nobody understood. He got a pair of fencing pliers out of the saddle shed, threw a leg lock on me, and started pulling. It hurt. Oh, it hurt. It felt like he was pulling off my whole nose. But I took it without a whimper. Well, maybe because I whimpered a little bit, and we got her done. Loper rubbed behind my ears. "There, try to stay away from porcupines." He stood up and started off to dust his jeans when he noticed the wet spot. His eyes looked up and looked kind of wrathful. "Did you do that?" "Well, it was well on my way to Tall Timber when he threw the pliers at me. I couldn't help it. I didn't do it on purpose. The quills got so hurting so bad I had to let something go. Was it my fault he had me in a leg lock and it got in the way? Take make one little mistake around this ranch and they nail you to the wall." I laid low for a while, hid in the post pile and nursed my nose. It was about 10 o'clock when Sally Mae discovered the murdered hen. On to chapter 3.